Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm an urban cut flower grower here in New Zealand. That's Gardening Zone 9B. And I thought I'd show you what I'm sowing and what's growing today in the garden. So it's just turned August here in New Zealand. So we've officially got one more month left of winter until spring. So I am just trying to get a jump start on all of those spring sowings that I'm going to want to do. Here in 9B, we still get frosts into spring, so I've got to be mindful of that. But I'm lucky to have a greenhouse here, so I can pop seedlings in here to kind of develop out of the frost as well. Now, a lot of the garden still looks very messy and very dismal out there. So if your garden's the same, please know that everyone's probably is this time of year. It's definitely in need of a big kind of sweep and tidy up, and I'm hoping I will get around to that over the weekend. But for now, it is what it is. It's a little bit messy. I'm busy planning new garden beds where I can take some more space back, and what I'm going to be planting in spring as well. So let's take a look at what I have been sowing lately. So in here you'll see the cornflowers, and I've gone for a different colour this year. I've gone for the Magic Mix. I typically sow the blue ones, but thought these ones suit my colour palette a little better. I can find the blue quite harsh against the spring colour palettes. Moving on to sweet peas, I'm very excited by the varieties I'm growing this year from Garden on the Hill. If you're in New Zealand, you can see the varieties pop up on screen. Nimbus is probably the number one sweet pea that I'm looking forward to. But also just look at that chocolate flake, how gorgeous. And I also have some delphinium here. So I lost my delphinium bed if you saw my winter garden disaster video, so I'm starting again with my delphiniums. You'll see later on in the video that my delphiniums are actually thriving in a very shady spot over winter, so I will show you what that looks like. Next we have Salvia Tricolour and Stock Evening Scented. The stock is a new one for me, but the Salvia Tricolour is very productive and it just adds a little sparkle to bouquets. I have some strawflower here that aren't germinating yet. It might be a little cold, but also the seed isn't super fresh, so you can have troubles there. Next I have some statice and basil, some salvia, and also some penstemon, which is a great perennial, and my tomatoes are just starting to germinate there too. Over here I've got some white strawflower which have germinated. Now here I have a lot of Potomac sun snapdragons. I've got the ivory and also the lavender as well. Some craspedia at the back and also some cucumbers. You can see the craspedia there, very, very pretty in bouquets. Now let's move on to what's growing. Okay, so this here is a new bed that I've recently put in. I put this in around autumn time, and I have some beautiful foxgloves growing in here. These are the Cafe Creme foxgloves and also the Apricot Beauty foxgloves. I love foxgloves. They remind me of back home in England. So I wanted a bit of an alley going down here on this side of the planter bed. Now over this side I have Persian cress. Persian cress is a really beautiful filler flower for bouquets. It's great for beginners as well because it germinates so quickly and so easily. So this is one of the few flowers that I do actually direct seed. I'm a bit of a seed sowing control freak, and I like to kind of raise everything inside my DIY greenhouses. But this one I do actually direct sow just because it's so easy to germinate. I'm not sure if you can see here, got some beautiful white flowers. And the seed pods are really nice too when the flowers go to seed. So a great one. I sowed this, it was just probably around 8 weeks ago. It does get really tall. So I've just popped some netting on, and I'll probably pop another layer of netting on. You can see the height here on some that are blooming. For here, I am a little bit undecided what to do with this bed. So this is just right next to the foxglove one, and it's a new bed as well. I had a couple of successions of stock in here, which did really well, but they decided to bloom while I was away in the UK. So unfortunately, I missed out on some of those flowers. And I also have some gladioli in here too, which are really pretty. These are kind of the smaller white ones, and they'll bloom in spring, and they're really pretty. And then down in the back here, I have mignonette and statice. Now, I made a bit of a mistake with this statice, I think. This area gets lovely full sun in summer, but in autumn and winter there's a big wall next to it which blocks a lot of the sunlight, meaning it's in kind of full shade during that time, and it's just very damp. So a lot of the statice leaves are just rotting. I'll try and show you. So you can see there's just rot, and I've pulled most of it off already. This is just kind of the rot that's left. So it's not too happy there. Statice is a very tough old plant, so I'm hoping it will bounce back once we finally get a bit of sun over here. But for now, it's not looking too great. You can see at the back here, I've got a beautiful delphinium stem. And the delphinium really seems to love it here. So those seeds that I showed you earlier, I might plant in here. Gorgeous. And this one's just coming into bloom now as well. This looks like it's a gorgeous purple colour.
We have a couple of other delphiniums in full sun, but they're much shorter than the ones in the shady patch over there. Over in this corner I have a Viburnum Eve Price, which is a beautiful shrub, and it's great for using in bouquets as well. It's got very pretty white flowers on it, and it has a really good vase life. You can see I have cut some of it here for a bouquet. I have some beautiful hellebores in this full shade spot, so this doesn't get any direct sunlight, and look how gorgeous they are. I picked some of these to bring inside as well, and we're also very slim pickings on the straw flower front. I'm just picking a couple of stems that are left over from spring sowings last year, and same with the stock. And when I zoom out in a second, you'll see the reality of the situation. I am not picking these in abundance right now. I'm just hunting for the little treasures that are still left around the garden.
In this little patch here, I've got my dianthus. I have decided to go for the Chabud La France variety this year, which are a beautiful soft pink, and also the orange sherbet, which is a new one I haven't grown before, so I'm really excited for that. In this tiny space, which isn't even a metre by a metre, I've got around 50 plants, and I plant these really close together. I found not only does it help them support each other when they're growing, but it also forces them to push out longer stems. And I do just have a layer of netting, which I'll move up as they grow as well. But these are a really great flower that start to bloom kind of towards the end of summer again. So yeah, they can be another one that can really help extend your flower season. I've got another patch of dianthus here. These are the Chabud La France ones again. And I'm going to see how productive these are. So these will be going into year 2. I've planted these, I believe, the autumn before last. So yeah, year 2 plants. And I'm going to compare their productivity to the new patch that's just over there as well. So I will let you know how it goes to see how the second year dianthus performs against newly planted first year.
If you're looking for some winter colour in your garden, I highly recommend this shrub. I am not going to attempt to say its name, so I will pop it up on the screen, but it has the most beautiful, really tiny, delicate pink flowers, and it just adds a beautiful texture to bouquets. I'll show you what it looks like cut here.
This is my second biggest patch here, and this is where I have the majority of my tulips. So I've managed to sow around 1,000 tulip bulbs this year, and this is the strip that I've kind of dedicated. I've got a couple of smaller patches, kind of around 50 to 100 bulbs dotted around the rest of the border just down there, but this is where the majority of my tulips are going, and they're just starting to emerge now. Very exciting. I just did a count up of the ranunculus that I've got in this bed here, and this is again probably a metre by a metre, this little patch that I've got here. And I've got over 40 plants in here. I do again plant these very close, and I don't find that they suffer for it. I do just keep the feed up with these, so they're very hungry plants and they like to be fed. So I give them a drink of seaweed and fish tonic at least once a week, most of the time twice a week. And I found that keeps the growth vigorous. And this is a really sunny spot here as well, so ranunculus can suffer from powdery mildew, but I found that the sun is kind of strong enough in this patch that it's kept any powdery mildew at bay as well. So if you also have a small space and a small garden, this is kind of yeah, how I get around that, I do very intensive planting. It's not going to be the recommended spacing that you'll find on any kind of corn or seed packets, but I've kind of figured out the plants that don't mind it and you can get away with it with, and the plants that aren't going to love being that close together as well. These here are also second year Crispedia or Billy Buttons. So I've sown some new plants and I'm very interested to compare the productivity from these, which will be second year plants, to the ones that I've just sown recently, which will be first year plants. So I just sowed a few of these because I didn't know how productive they were going to be, but they really do tick that kind of special spark box for me when it comes to making bouquets. They're just so beautiful. I'll pop a picture of where I've used them. So yeah, if you're interested in Crispedia, you don't need many plants. Again, you can put them in quite closely together. These are pretty much next door to each other. And yeah, they just kind of give you that sparkle for bouquets. So I'll let you know as well down the track in summer how these compare to ones that are sown this year.
I have some feverfew cuttings as well, which are ticking along nicely in the greenhouse. This is my autumn sown scabiosa. As you can see, it's really looking very healthy. Not a lot going on up top, but the roots will be doing all the work and it'll be ready to take off in spring. Thank you for coming along to what I'm sowing and what's growing in winter here in my urban garden in New Zealand. If you do like this content, I'd really appreciate if you subscribed, and if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments and I'd be more than happy to answer them as well. I'm going to be sowing right into spring, so I'll keep you updated with what's going on, and I'm going to be coming to you soon with more videos around the flowers that I love, the plants that I love, and veggie planting in containers as well. So do follow along if you enjoy that sort of content. I'll say goodbye this time with a little bouquet that I made with all the little treasures that I found around the garden. There's not a lot of them, but I do enjoy hunting for those little pickings this time of year. See you next time!